Hello everybody, welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today I'll be doing a review of the film See How They Run, which just came out this past year and is now available on all digital platforms as of November 1st. This was indeed sent to me for review by Searchlight Pictures, but please know that will not impact my review of the film or my objectivity, and so we'll go ahead and talk about this film. Before any further though, please make sure you smash that like button, light up that fire button if you're watching over on Odyssey, smash the rumble button as well. It really does mean a lot. And all right, so See How They Run. It is a comedy mystery film, as it's being labeled here. It's a whodunit, and it's really a whodunit within a whodunit. It's a very self-referential movie. The entire film takes place surrounding an Agatha Christie play that is taking place within the film itself. The Mousetrap, which is, of course, a whodunit by Agatha Christie. And so the film itself is its own whodunit and very self-referential. It starts off with a voiceover where it talks about, a typical whodunit. This is usually what happens. Adrian Brody comes in with a very interesting New York accent, right, talking about the film, talking about basically all of the basic tropes that you find in many of the whodunits that have ever existed. You have a character that gives you all the background of these other characters and where they come from, etc., etc. If you've seen one, you've seen them all, is essentially what is said. And I do appreciate this movie for a lot of reasons. For one, the fact that it is so self-referential and that it is kind of aware of the trope of the whodunit and how it's very hard for these films to really be able to break away, or any of these stories really to be able to break away from those tropes. I really do appreciate it. I like that it is self-aware, right? There are films that sometimes are self-aware and they don't realize that they're being self-aware, and it can come across as kind of cringe. But then there's other films where they do it and they do it quite effectively. I look at a film like Bullet Train, for instance, where that film knows that it's ridiculous. It kind of embraces the fact that it's ridiculous, and you're able to have fun along the ride because of it. This is that kind of movie too, where because of how aware of its own genre it is allowing the people and allowing the audience to have fun with the overall story, because the story, just as one would suspect, is a pretty much by-the-numbers whodunit story. It is a story about a detective here, played by Sam Rockwell. Interesting that he is an American actor, tasked to be a British police officer, I guess a British, investigator. Saoirse Ronan's in the movie as well. Adrian Brody plays an American director. But then you have all of these other actors in here who are all playing British characters, and they are all themselves, from the United Kingdom. So I just thought that was very interesting that you have all these British actors playing British characters, and then the main lead role in the film, played by Sam Rockwell, is played by American. Now, Sam Rockwell is great, and he's great in this film too, and so I think that most people probably wouldn't even notice. And actually, I had to double check and say, hey, he is an American actor, right? And yeah, sure enough, he is. And so I think that he does a great job. I think obviously the standout performance in the movie, though, definitely goes to Saoirse Ronan, because she is just a very talented actress, and she plays kind of the up-and-coming cop, right? She is just very overzealous. This is set during like the 1950s, and they're made very clear that the reason why she has been chosen to be added to the police force is because the police chief who was running for re-election and was, had been running on a campaign, was trying to run on modern issues and was trying to make the police department more modern. So he's just very honest, saying, yeah, basically you got hired because we needed a woman to be hired, and so that's why you're here, essentially. And so I thought that was also something where, and I think in today's world, some might try to look at that as some, I think, would wrongly suggest that makes it a, quote, woke concept. But in reality, I almost look at it as a non-PC, or as a very non-PC kind of way of expressing it, because it makes it seem very clearly that, oh yeah, the only reason why she's here is because she's a woman. Now, she's very capable in the movie. She is clearly better at the job than anyone else, because she obviously has a hunger for the job. She's like writing every single word down. But then also she is being, basically taught the ropes by Sam Rockwell. And so you have this great back and forth between those two characters, where she is just over serious, writing everything down. And he's like, whoa, slow your roll. You need to realize you can't just jump to conclusions and write everything down and expect to be able to be right all the time. And sure enough, she gets foiled several times because she makes assumptions. She determines who the killer might actually be in the film, and is wrong on multiple occasions. And so it is nice to see that kind of counterbalance there, where, again, in a typical Hollywood film, I feel that you would have a little bit more of she makes everyone else look just completely dumb with no actual growth for the character themselves. And so luckily, her character, I think, does have a little bit more of a balanced role there. And as I said, Saoirse Ronan is a very, very talented actress and does a great job. Adrian Brody's role in the film, I really appreciate for a lot of reasons. And again, he's a very talented actor. So I'm happy to see him in the film doing what he's doing. Also, David Oyelowo, who I have not seen in a movie in quite a long time. And you forget just how talented of an actor he actually is. And so the role that he has, the supporting character that he has in the film is also quite good. I will say, as far as the acting, though, is concerned, I think my favorite actor in this movie has a very small performance, and I don't even think they're being even listed here. Let me see if I can find a list of the actual characters themselves. So it's a very small role, has very little screen time, but it's the role played by Shirley Henderson. Now, Shirley Henderson, for anyone who's ever seen the Harry Potter films, she is the one who played Moaning Myrtle in the Harry Potter films. She plays in this film Agatha Christie. And let me just say, I don't know much about how Agatha Christie sounded or acted in real life, but I loved the portrayal of Agatha Christie in this movie, even though it happens for such a small amount of time in the movie, even though it happens just for a brief moment. There are these moments that it almost comes across where it's like, okay, this actress is very much clearly a character actress, and she might have just a couple of, of performance cues and of just performance traits that might carry into all the roles that she plays, because there was a couple moments where I was like, all right, I'm seeing a little bit of Moaning Myrtle in Agatha Christie, but at the end of the day, it's also like the fact that this is meant to be, comedic, it actually makes it so entertaining. It's like, oh my goodness. So if Moaning Myrtle was just a little bit less of that extreme of a character and instead was a famous author of especially of whodunits and of mysteries and crime novels, and just also just had a lot of very interesting character traits, and with the voice that she has, it just was, again, if anything else, if there's no other reason to see this movie, I would say it's worth seeing it just for the brief moments towards the end of the film where Shirley Henderson shows up as Agatha Christie. I just personally thought that was probably my favorite role in the movie, and it was just a lot of fun. It had me laughing quite a bit, just the fact that you had all of these things going on. So anyway, acting, I think, is definitely solid in the film. The writing is okay. The writing, as I said, is a bit, by the numbers as far as you kind of expect where things are going. The twist that always happens in these movies, right, of the whodunit, I don't think most people will probably see it coming. I think that the film obviously tried to play itself along that way. Luckily, it does make sense. It's not one of those subversion of expectations that makes no sense whatsoever. It's one where you're like, oh, okay. Had I known that about this specific character, then it probably would have made a little bit more sense. But okay, yeah, I could see how this character would be there. Maybe some people who are smarter than I might be able to figure things out prior to the actual film itself, or throughout the course of the film. But in general, I think the writing is fine, right? It is self-referential. Some people like that, some people don't mind it, and some people might just hate that. So if you don't like films that are very self-aware in that way, there's not a lot of fourth wall breaking, right? There is some voiceover that happens, especially towards the beginning of the movie, and throughout the course of the film, there's like a couple other moments. Towards the end, you have like maybe one fourth wall breaking moment, but in the end, it is not all that egregious when it comes to it. So overall, I would say you have just, again, very competent cinematography. All of the sequences feel well shot. All of them look well framed. All of them, I think, add to the overall mystery that they are trying to tell on screen. Having the play within the movie itself, right? Having the mousetrap happening in the background and the actors and, the focus on that story. And again, just the self-referential nature of the film itself, I think, does add to it. The film wasn't very much a box office hit or success. It made about $21 million worldwide. There was still no report as of the recording of this video, at least according to IMDb, or not IMDb, but Wikipedia, which tends to be pretty good about collecting that type of data and information. There's been no reported budget for the film. I would have to imagine that the film probably cost a little bit more than what one would suspect. I mean, bare minimum, you're talking, even though this is a Fox Searchlight, or rather, sorry, Searchlight picture, old school Fox Searchlight. I would assume that it cost, $20 million or so, between 20 and 40. Sounds about right for one of these movies. Maybe even cost less. So it doesn't look like this film was much of a hit. But in the end, I would say that this film, I think is worth watching. Again, it's only available on digital media platforms, and so you can buy it on digital media pretty much anywhere. And I would say that if you are someone who likes whodunits, if you are someone who likes mystery movies, if you're someone that likes comedy mystery movies, I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. I think that especially the character of Saoirse Ronan is very entertaining. There's moments that just I was laughing because of just how funny she was and just how over the top her character was. The characters and their relationships with each other. David Oyelowo also has a really great supporting performance. He plays this writer And he's one of these writers where he wants to try and change things in such a way that they just become so ridiculous. He's very pompous and very full of himself and very snooty. So it was just fun to see him play that character and play it as well as he did. So I would say if you want to see some fun actors in the movie with a whodunit, that I think this film would be well worth watching. If I had to give this film a grade, I'd give it a solid B. Again, I think that it is a fun movie. Definitely not one of the best films of the year, in my own opinion, but it is one that I think is fun enough to where I'd watch it again if my wife was one day saying, hey, I heard about this movie, and that's like, oh, I've seen that, and I would actually watch it again because I think that it is fun enough with the characters and with the actors. So anyway, what are your thoughts? Have you seen See How They Run? Do you plan to see how they run? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you like this video, smash that like button, loud the fire button, Aussie, and smash the rumble button. It really does mean a lot. You're all amazing, beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll have a box office preview for this upcoming weekend as we finally have some early numbers. Let's just say they're expecting Black Panther Wakanda Forever to make around $200 plus million domestically and over $350 million worldwide. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see, because if those numbers hold and if the week 2 numbers are not terrible, you have the potential for $1 billion film. Anyway, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge special shout out to all of my November Patreon Subscribe Star and Locals members at the Keeper of the Bifrost level and above. Starting off with Patreon with Father Luca Illich. Thank you very much, Father. Garrett Searles, Jaimir Iri Hymason, Joe Horn, Jonathan Carney, Laura, The Modern Major General Story, Orange Hat Reviews, who you can check out on YouTube at his channel, Orange Hat Reviews, Rosetta Allen, who also has a YouTube channel that you can check out at Eagle Writer, and Miss Martin Muses, who also has a YouTube channel, Miss Martin Muses, and of course the amazing Empress of the Universe, Tina B, who you can check out at her YouTube channel, Tina B, where she hosts the show with Stephanie B, one of my mods, and one of my Valkyrie, called Soup to Nuts. Check out Soup to Nuts, and it premieres pretty much every Friday. So again, shout out to all of my Patreon people, also to all my Subscribe Star people, starting off with Matt317. Check him out on Twitch at Matt317. The R, Fast Reaction, Mr. Roy, J-Rod, the Beer Guru, and ZK Man. And ZK Man you could check out over at xtheboundaries.co to follow him as he starts his podcast, and also for many of his musical musings as well. Check him out. Very, very talented guy. And then lastly, my locals peeps. We got Miss Minnesota Hockey Fan. How about a hockey player? UAB Mad Dog, Mike Jackson for the win. J.H. Schwalbach, Brett D90, and the amazing lawyer, Robert Barnes. Thank you all so very much for supporting me. And if you want your name shouted out at the end of every live stream and video, go ahead and check out the top link in the video description below, where you get access to that. Also, you get access to special things like giveaways and also exclusive podcasts I do with John the Flickinger and other guests throughout the month of November and in the previous and the months to follow as well. And again, if any of that sounds interesting to you, especially the 4K giveaways, Steelbook giveaways, some of them that I have to give away this month are films like Starship Troopers on 4K Steelbook, Top Gun Maverick on 4K Steelbook, amongst many others. If that sounds interesting to you, check out the link and follow the instructions down below. Anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless.